Hey everyone, welcome. If you caught my detailed review of that Specialized Epic 8 frame, you know that it can be an aggressive cross-country or light trail bike. And today I'm ready to share with you how we're advancing that build. I chose the Fox suspension and I could have used the good old Fox 34 SC 120mm for a very cross-country type of configuration, but I decided to go with a new Fox 34 SL because it gives me a 130mm option. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at the 34 SL versus the good old SC. I'm going to give you guys some ideas on how to upgrade the 34 SC and the new 34 SL. And by the end of it, I'm going to be showing you the differences between the new shocks. This is the Float SL versus the old DPS Shock that Fox used to sell. And let's start with a quick unboxing. Fox packaging used to be all black, not anymore. This is what you're getting in 2026. 2026 Float SL, made in Taiwan, and this would be the standard configuration that you get from Fox. And the same goes for the fork. That's the part number at the top, 2026 Float SL. This is 130mm with the Grip SL damper. And inside you're gonna get an owner's manual and a little Fox sticker and the shock that has bushings installed at both ends. But I'm mostly excited about the new fork. It comes with volume spacers, 3 of them. You get a start nut, a sticker, and the same user manual. And I'm excited about the new fork, not because of the generative design of that new arch, but because they implemented a lot of changes on the fork without increasing its weight. Here's the weight of my step cast, 1480 grams. That is with the Kabolt SL, and I did deduct the weight of the start nut and the crown race. If you were to look at the weight with the full steer, that would be 1512. The new axle is called Kabolt SL as well, and here's the weight, 33 grams. And this is the old Kabolt, 44 grams. So they saved 11 grams right here. And with that axle and the Grip SL damper, that's the hose clip, 1508 grams. So a few grams lighter than the SC. That's pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? Especially since this comes in 130mm. But that's not the only difference between the old SC and the new SL. And the first big change is the full width of the chassis of the new SL as opposed to the narrower chassis of the previous SC. Also, you have what they call regenerative design of the new arch. This is supposed to give us increased torsional stiffness, about 17%, and reduced weight. And thank you, Fox, for not involving that reverse arch that we see these days on the Fox 32 SL. They don't use that glossy black anymore, but you see how sculpted this crown is on the new fork compared to the old. And gone is that taper here on the inside of the fork. The new 34 SL giving us enough room for 2.5 tires. If you like to run 160mm rotors on the old fork, you cannot do that with the new SL because the minimum rotor is 180mm. And if you look here at the bypass channels, that was a big part of the redesign of this fork in 2022. You can see how the SL moved them right here on the inside just to strengthen that bushing overlap here. And we still have 2 threaded holes here at the back of the arch. Wondering if a fender like the good old Syncross Trail fender, this was for the 2022 non-SC fork. I'm wondering if this is gonna fit. If you guys tried it out on the new SL, I would appreciate giving us your feedback. They always say that they improved the air spring, but the only thing that I see change here is the shape of that new cap. The bottom of the legs is hollow just like before, and you have a nice clicky rebound adjustment There is 17 clicks here. And as usual, you have a sticker with some recommended settings for the fork just to get you going. Now, when you say SL, many people assume that this is the only damper that the fork comes with, but Fox actually provides this fork with a Grip X damper as well. Retail is only available on the 130mm fork, and you would choose that Grip X damper if you want this to be more trail oriented. It adds more configuration to the high and low speed compression. But if you want to upgrade your 34 SL to the Grip X, this is the part number of the Grip X damper that you need. Now, we've used the Fit 4 damper since the very first version of this fork back in 2019. It's a bladder type damper that gives you 3 position plus the adjustment for that open position. It's a good damper for cross country, but some people complain that it's pretty stiff or harsh on big hits. That is what the new Grip generation of dampers is supposed to provide. Dampening is lighter, and many like that soft off the top that apparently this fork provides. You still have the 3 position open, pedal, and locked mode. And remember, this is the light or next generation version of that Grip damper from Fox that is too good for what's supposed to be. So if you want to get the cheap version of this fork, I cannot recommend enough that performance version that comes with the Grip damper. So if you're sold on that Grip SL versus the Fit 4, the good news is that you can find a Grip SL upgrade kit right now on the screen. But keep in mind that if you were to find online a Grip SL damper from a Fox 34 SL, that is not compatible with your 34 SC. So don't fall for that. Also, with the introduction of the new dampers, Fox introduced a new oil, 4WT, for the lower. So make sure you get that. That being said, what about the Float SL Shock that I mentioned a couple of times so far? And the story is that the new Float Shocks are quite different than the old. They only provide the open and closed position of the damper. However, if you look at the SL, that's the 2026. This is the Float DPS 2022. There's almost no difference between these two whatsoever. You have the internals almost identical. You still have the 3 position here with extra adjustment for the open position damper. And when it comes to weight, that's the Float SL, 264 grams. And here's the DPS, 256. So if you're thinking about upgrading from the old DPS to the new SL, the one with 3 position, don't waste your time. By the way, that would be the same if you were to get the remote version of the new Float SL. So there you have it, folks. New 34 SL fork, 130mm, something that RockShox cannot match today. They only have the SID in 120mm. And the old SC, which I think is a great fork. I still have a couple of these in use in my house. What do you folks think about this? Are you going to use it as a light trail bike fork, or are you going to use it for cross country? If you use it for cross country, are you going for 130 or 120? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, I'll see you folks on the trails, hopefully riding some Fox Succession. Cheers, guys. Cheers.